Good evening, friends. It's a pleasure to welcome you all on this sort of a rainy evening. It's not raining too much today, so it's a blessing that more people can come and to witness a wonderful talk on a very important topic which is touching everybody's lives, that's advancement in railways, to be delivered by Dr. Zenia Gupta, who is the Senior Divisional Operations Manager of the Indian Railways Traffic Service, and she's in Ahmedabad Division. I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Sudhir Kumar Sharma, who is the Divisional Manager at the Ahmedabad Railways here. See, as we all know, that the railway infrastructure is a very important element of any economy. So as I said, it's a very railway infrastructure is a very important part of any infrastructure or a transportation of any country. And like many other countries, the British brought the railways here. I think it was in the 19th century, 1856 or 53 or something like that. And then gradually developed. In fact, the British took, I remember, a lot of people from India to build railways in their other colonies like Africa and all. But over the years, it progressed, and earlier, pre-independence, the railways developed in, clusters, different parts of the building, parts of the country, like even states like Gondal had its railway here and Baroda had its railway. But post-independence, the Indian Railways, the integration took place, the whole railway network became very strong, and gradually I think we are the largest railway network in India. Earlier, we used to read in school that the erstwhile USSR was the largest, but then now India is the largest, Yeah. So, and it facilitates movement of passengers, freight, and urban transport. Again, urban transport is so important. Like, forget it's not modern, but the Mumbai local trains, even if it is stopped for half a day, it can disturb the economy. I call it the bloodline or the lifeline of Mumbai. So urban transport is equally important. And for many decades, the development was slow, but subsequently, past few decades, it has picked up very fast. And over the years, the railways have evolved, embracing technological advancements and modernizing its operations to enhance efficiency, safety, and also passenger experience, as we are seeing today. From introduction of high-speed trains to implementation of digital ticketing, which was a very important landmark. You imagine that earlier the tickets were manual and we had the system. And mind you, an airline's software system is very, very small and simple compared to the Indian reservation system, because our size of the railways, our complexities, our classes and quota between our long distance train, there are so many, all this is not there in an airline software at all. So kudos to our software also. So, and again, we have real time tracking. You can track your trains on your mobile today. So all this, railways has continued to innovate. And examples we can see: the Delhi-Mumbai freight corridor, the Vande Bharat trains, safety systems like Kavach, which are coming up. So, and very soon, when we have the Ahmedabad-Mumbai Shinkansen, what they call the bullet train. So that will be also, we read in the papers that it will be in different areas. So anyway, let's lead all this to the expert who's going to share her thoughts and various interesting facts today, Dr. Zenia Gupta. But before I hand it over, I'll give a brief introduction, which is also there on the screen. Dr. Gupta is a distinguished civil services officer with the Indian Railway Traffic Service, currently serving as the Senior Divisional Operations Manager at the Ahmedabad Division of Western Railways. With 14 years extensive experience, her career spans a wide range of roles, including traffic operations, planning, freight logistics, and passenger movement. She has been instrumental in the development of the Gati Shakti cargo terminals and has contributed significantly to national projects such as the high-speed rail between Ahmedabad and Mumbai, station development in Ahmedabad, and the Western dedicated freight corridor. Before her tenure in Ahmedabad, she has worked in Vadodara, Ratlam, Mumbai, gaining experience in commercial marketing, tenders, contracts, railway ticketing, non-fare revenue, and passenger safety. Very interestingly, she's a doctor, she's an MBBS, prior to her joining the civil services in 2009. and she was honored with the Ati Vishisht Rail Seva Puraskar in 2023 for her exceptional performance in all freight logistics. So before I hand over to her, on behalf of all of you and AMA, we'll welcome Dr. Gupta with a memento.
So a very good evening to all present here. Very nice rainy evening, and I welcome all the rail enthusiasts who are present among us. We move in Australia every day, and as far as the latest statistics go, even Australia is left far behind. So we are currently increasing our passenger movement percentage by almost 5% every year. And the freight movement is also increasing at the same rate of almost 5% every year of what has been we are doing in the past 5 years. So this entire PPT, the outline will be, we'll move from what all advancements have been happening on a pan-India level, and how you will see these advancements around you within the, let's say, Ahmedabad city or within Gujarat. So we'll go from global to local, and how we are working towards a better passenger experience, better logistics, and as we were discussing, green logistics. Also, how railways is impacting you in your daily life, and how railways is connected to your everyday movement. So this is just a brief overview of our division, Ahmedabad division. So this is one of the 6 divisions of Western Railway. It's the biggest division in Western Railway. We cover around 10 districts. In fact, we cover 10 districts of Gujarat state, and our passenger movement is around 370 passenger trains up and down we move within the division, and the freight trains equals around 200 plus per day. So 200 trains are moving in each direction per day and within the division. Our kilometers, the track that you see, the track kilometers expands to somewhere around 1500 to 1600 kilometers. We cover major stations like Ahmedabad, Mehsana, Palanpur, Bhuj, Bhildi, Viramgaon. So Viramgaon comes in Surendranagar district. So these are the few major stations that we cover, Himmatnagar. So mostly our territory is restricted to within Gujarat state. We also cover the 3 major ports, the very big ports of India, that is Mundra, Kandla and Tuna. Mundra being the biggest port in the country. So we are serving 3 major ports, and we are also further connecting to the minor ports of GMB. So this is just a proposed image of how your station will look like in the future. This is a project that we are working on. That is the major station redevelopment that is happening in Ahmedabad at a cost of around 2,400 crores. This is going to completely change the picture of that area. Right now, whenever you have approached Kalupur station, you don't feel like approaching it, in fact. But this is going to change the entire picture and even the approaches. So we have just not planned only about the station. We are planning of how you are going to approach that station. So no more of congestions, traffic congestions, traffic snarls, horns, honking. That is not going to be the future here. So starting from the Indian Railways vision, that is the bigger picture that you must have gone through in the news. You must be hearing about this a lot. We are talking about Amrit Chaturbhuj. So a part of the Amrit Chaturbhuj, it comprises of 3 areas mainly. Amrit Chaturbhuj, when we talk about, one is the freight sector. So when we talk about the freight sector, it's the energy, mineral and cement corridors that we are planning. The second is passenger, and the third is safety. So one of the sub parts of the Amrit Chaturbhuj is the energy, mineral and cement corridor. The entire thing, it is going to be 40,000 kilometers of massive route expansion covering areas. When we talk about energy, definitely it's going to be the coal belts. So the coal producing states like Orissa, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh, is going to get themselves connected to the northern parts of the country where the coal consumption actually take place majorly. The mineral corridor will be Jharkhand, Bihar, the iron and steel sector, and they will be getting connected to the ports in the south as well as the western side. And the cement corridor, we have the cement clusters in and around Jabalpur area, the Chittor area, as well as part of it lies in our area also, that is in Bhuj. So these are going to get connected through 3 DFCs which are under planning. 2 you already know. So one is the Eastern DFC and the Western DFC, which you are all aware of, and 3 more DFCs are in the pipeline. So that is the East-West dedicated freight corridor. We have the East Coast DFC, the East Coast dedicated freight corridor. So that will be connecting the Paradeep port and will be running along the eastern coastal line. And the third is the North-South corridor. So these 3 DFCs, apart from the 2 which have already been constructed or are nearing completion, is going to get added over a period of next 5 years with a capex of around 11 lakh crores. The outcome is, as the existing DFCs has helped us in reducing the transit time, it is going to reduce pollution, it is going to reduce the logistics, giving you a greener logistics, reduce transit time, and reduction in the overall costing of how it is going to shift products from one place to another, and ultimately in the bigger scale, overall inflation of the basic commodities as well as the final products are going to get reduced because of that. Coming on to the freight sector, DFC 90% is already done. As you know, when we talk about the Western DFC, what we have here is the one moving from Dadri to JNPT. So 90% of it is already completed, and the Eastern DFC is also completely 100% completed. Feeder routes for these DFCs are under completion. Now there's a mission that is being given to us of 100 Gati Shakti multimodal cargo terminals. So we right now, going from the common concept of just a goods shed with only loading and unloading that is happening. So some customer comes there, the rake is placed there or the train is placed there, you unload it and you take away your goods. We are moving into a completely holistic solution to what the customer wants. And that includes warehousing, that includes custom clearance, that includes everything. So ultimately, when the customer takes out his cargo or brings his cargo, it's an end-to-end solution for them. So this is where the Gati Shakti multimodal cargo terminals are coming as a different alternative, as a completely new perspective has entered the freight arena, where we want the customers to develop their industries or their activities in and around our GCTs. Now, there is another project that is going on for the special investment regions, which are being given by the state. So like Dholera SIR, as you must have heard it in the news, it's a big project of our government, and Railways is also working towards ensuring that whatever comes up in that SIR gets evacuated or it is easily brought into that SIR with least disturbance. Then freight terminals, when we talk about, we are also involving the private parties to come in and put in their investment into development of these terminals as well as in designing of these terminals. So what the party wants or what the private customer wants, they can plan it, they can tell us, we are there to provide them land and they can develop it from scratch according to their needs. So every commodity has its own needs, and this is one model whereby we are asking them to bring in their money and develop it, and we will be providing them with the trains to load their products. Smart yards is another concept whereby new technologies are being brought into the examination of rakes. So right now you must have seen manual maintenance, manual inspections. So this is one way sensor-based technologies are being included in the examination. So every time a train comes in, the person knows what is to be done. So there's a sensor-based technology which detects that these things are there which needs to be rectified in that particular train, and the person just has to deal with those deficiencies and nothing else, and the train goes out and about in around 2 to 3 hours. So this is something we are working on, and these are going to be major yards situated outside the city with least hindrance to what is happening within the city. The world-class goods shed is another form of freight terminals, but will be done by the government completely, whereby again the comprehensive thinking that we want to put it into a private terminal, we will be doing it in our own goods sheds. We will be developing warehousing solutions as well as IT solutions for all the clearances that are required for customs, as well as canteen facilities, your parking facilities for trucking. Everything is going to be there in those goods sheds. So the ultimate mission that has been given to us is 3,000 million metric tons. So we are moving somewhere around 1,600 to 1,700 right now. And by 2027, we are planning to go up till 3,000 million metric tons. When you talk about passenger, Vande Bharat is a new product that you already know. Vande Sadharan, few might have read in the newspapers. So this is a new concept, and this is for the lower middle class, the non-AC people moving at a higher speed, a better journey, a safe journey. And Vande Metro is a concept whereby we are connecting the nearby cities. So these three concepts are there. Apart from that, there is going to be a sleeper version of Vande Bharat, which will be an overnight train. Right now, Vande Bharat is confined to the daytime because there are just sitting capacity there. But we will be moving to a sleeper version of Vande Bharat also, whereby going from Ahmedabad to Delhi, you will be traveling soon in a Vande Bharat sleeper. We are taking up Amrit Bharat stations. 1,275 on a pan-India level. There will be a complete changeover of the way you look at a station. The entire facade is going to get changed under the Amrit Bharat scheme with bigger FOBs, bigger stations, more space, ease of commuting, more lifts, more escalators, more Divyang-friendly people can come and use these stations. Then station redevelopment, as I showed you, Ahmedabad station redevelopment. So all the tier 1 and tier 2 cities are undergoing a major station redevelopment, and it is based on what you have seen in foreign countries like Japan or even Europe. So it is going to be a one-stop solution for all your needs. So you will have a shopping mall there, you will have restaurants there, you will have hotels there. The entire gamut of services are going to converge at the station, considering that station is actually the hub of the entire city. This is one way of bringing all the people together to that place, not just for commuting, but for the other activities also. Mission Zero Waitlist. We have been doing that. We have been trying to do that, and infrastructure is being expanded just to ensure this. A lot of new concepts have been brought in, like the concept of clone trains. So every time we are having a wait list, and we see that the wait list is enough to run an entire train. So what we do is, right after the regular train, we start another train, and the wait list gets sorted out. So we immediately, that's done in a let's say in a space of 2 to 3 days, we run a clone train, and the passengers get the ticket in the alternate train. So you must have heard about, every time you are going to IRCTC, there's something known as the Vikalp scheme. So in Vikalp, you come to know that if I'm not getting a ticket in this train, there are other trains available. We have certain congested areas still, and as I'll come on to the infrastructure part of it, we are taking part of the infrastructure so we can run more trains. And ultimately, the mission remains that no person will have a wait list in the future. It's going to be all confirmed tickets, no matter if you want to go just one day before. This is what we are finally aiming at. The 160 kmph speed is going to be, one of the sections is going to be Ahmedabad, Bombay also. So the next time when this gets done, your reaching to Bombay will be faster and more safer with Kavach also. So one of the routes is Ahmedabad, Bombay, then New Delhi, Bombay is a route that is going to happen. New Delhi, Howrah, these are the major routes whereby we are planning to do a 160 kmph. The trials have already happened. We are going to implement it. The mega coaching terminals, again, bigger concepts of the same thing. As we are developing mega goods shed, we are developing mega coaching terminals. So mega coaching terminals are again going to have 12 to 15 platforms, a lot of space, a lot of trains running from that platform. Might be inside the city or outside the city because land constraints are already there, but going to happen on a big scale. then every town with more than 50,000 population is going to get connected. So this is one of the vision that has been handed over to us, and we have to ensure that the entire population gets connected. As I'll show you later how we are implementing it, we are going all the way up to Nakatrana, and I don't know if you guys have heard about it, Vayor, Nakatrana, Koteshwar. So that's the border, and we are going up till the border. Yeah. So it's because of this vision that is being given to us that not a single town which has more than 50,000 should go out of the railway connectivity. Then all the religious centers and pilgrim places, the rail connectivity is being planned. Bharat Gaurav train is again a way of bringing in private people into running of coaching trains, and these are basically private players run trains. So they come over to us, they tell us this is our itinerary, and we approve the route, and that's it. Everything is being managed by a private sector, right from catering to servicing. Everything is being arranged by them. Only they give us the itinerary, we just finalize the itinerary, and the train runs. And then the dense passenger traffic corridors, which includes the Golden Quadrilateral. The Golden Quadrilateral is starting from Delhi to Ahmedabad, Bombay, moving down to Chennai, Kolkata, and back to Delhi. So that is the dense passenger traffic corridor that we have, and this is what we are developing under the Amrit Chaturbhuj scheme. Now, safety is, as you must all be knowing, is very important, and we are continuously moving towards better safety, because that will ultimately help us to have better speeds. So one of the important features is Kavach, the automatic train protection system. It has already been sanctioned for 2,000 kilometers of the Indian Railway network, and it is already under implementation, almost in the final stages. So maybe by the end of this financial year, there will be a route which will be running on Kavach. And it is also including the Ahmedabad Bombay route. So again, that route is taken under Kavach. So through Kavach, the biggest incentive is, so every kind of let's say abnormality that is detected from any side can be handled by Kavach. It can ultimately make drivers less responsible, or let's say less important to the running of the train. The entire train handling can be taken over by Kavach in the future. So even if there is a speed restriction and they want to reduce the speed to 45 kmph, the system will know it, and it will be completely automatically done without the intervention of the person. He will get to know what signals he is getting, whether it's a green signal or it's a red signal. He'll come to know whether he has to stop or not, whether there is a station that is coming where he has to halt. The system will halt the train. If there is, suppose, due to whatever means, due to a signaling failure or anything, a train is about to come right in front, the train will automatically stop. So these trials have already happened, and they have been very much successful, and this is going to be implemented soon in India. It's completely indigenously made. A Make in India system is what Kavach is. Then there are other things, like we are doing a retrofitment in coaches, a fire alarm, almost done to a level of 75%. So soon every coach will have a fire alarm system. So that will be an automatic fire detection. So next time a person is found smoking in the train, maybe the security person will not be the first person to catch it. It's going to be the fire alarm. So next time, this is something that needs to be seen by all the passengers. It automatically gets detected even by a little bit of smoke that is emanating from anywhere in the coach. Talking about infrastructure, we are doing a capacity augmentation of around 16,600 kilometers in the entire network of ours. So that includes doubling, quadrupling. We'll move to a more localized perspective in the later slides of how we are doing it in Ahmedabad area. And then there is an upgradation of signaling systems to run more trains to give you better speeds, and also bypasses and flyovers to bypass the congested areas. Like suppose if I want to bypass Ahmedabad completely and I want to run a train to Rajkot, I will not bring it to Ahmedabad. I'll bypass it across Ahmedabad and take it directly to Rajkot. So Those kinds of things are also being planned so that we can develop customized solutions. So if suppose there is an entire train going to Rajkot, we need not bring it to Ahmedabad. So that will make the journey faster and more comfortable. Now, port connectivity under the Rail Sagar corridor is also one of the vision that was given over by the government of India, whereby we are connecting all the major and minor ports. So we have worked out on an exception exercise that first all ports were taken, then based on certain things like low volume handling, there were certain ports which were eliminated, but the final aim was taking the future into consideration. Even the small ports have been taken under this port rail connectivity, and we are not waiting for the ports to develop. So the ports will develop when the railways go there, and then there will be a planning of how to develop that port. So railways is moving ahead of the other ministry in this regard, that we are not waiting that the port first achieves a certain level and then we are going to give the railway connectivity. It's going to be the other way around. So total 114 ports projects have been taken up under a capex of approximate 1 lakh crores. And under specifically the Rail Sagar corridor, we are dealing with 2,000 kilometers of track and 42 projects. So coming on to a more regional level of how we are doing it in Gujarat and how we are doing it in our division. First of all, when we talk about minerals, you must be knowing there are huge deposits in nearby Vayor, Lakpat, Koteshwar, so that is the greater run of Kutch area. And this is where we are planning our railway connectivity. This is also the border area, pretty sensitive area. And Nalia is in fact an Air Force base. So we will be connecting the Air Force base as well as we will be connecting these mines for limestone, bentonite, and all these cement factories, Ultratech, Sanghi, all these factories which are located there is going to ultimately get connected to the system. So this is one major project we are currently working on. We have almost reached up till Nalia, and another 35 kilometers is Vayor, which is under construction. So the Western Dedicated Freight Corridor, we have 4 locations of surface connectivity within our area, and the transit time, the customers say it is not something that I am saying, it has reduced to half. So the port connectivities of Mundra, all the inland container movement towards Dadri is happening in almost half the transit time of what it used to happen earlier after the DFC connectivity has happened. And this has also helped us. There is a lot of new terminals, container terminals, specifically EXIM-based terminals, which are coming up in and around this area, primarily focused towards export as well as a little bit of domestic movement, but primarily exports. And the second part is the special investment region. So one is Dholera, which we had already discussed, but the second one, that is the Bechraji SIR, is where the Maruti plant is located. This is already connected with us. In fact, now they are planning to expand it because it's been a huge success, and they are planning to further expand it, and people are coming from their other locations to see this particular GCT because of its expansive way of working and its complete success in how it has been built up. Now these are the cargo terminals which have been developed thanks to the connectivity with DFC as well as our internal doubling and quadrupling efforts. So Virochan Nagar, Adani has developed a new container terminal. Navkar has developed a container terminal at Vadharva. Then Bechraji, the Maruti plant is already there. They are doing automobile. And new Hind terminals are coming up at Chandisar. So these are all the new terminals which have been developing in the past 2 years. So in the past 2 years, almost 8 have been done. Another 4 in the pipeline, just within the 10 districts of what we talked about. So this is the kind of expansion that is happening in the area. We have developed PPP, under PPP model, 3 good shed. Again, the private sector coming into picture and developing their own good shed at Desalpur, that is near Bhuj. Khari Rohar is the Gandhidham area, and Bhimasir is again near Gandhidham. The Sabarmati is developed as a smart yard for these container trains, and the world-class good shed is being planned at Kakaria, that is in Ahmedabad proper. Now, for passenger convenience, last 1 year, 4 Vande Bharats running in different direction, more to come, definitely. And Vande Bharat sleeper is also will be there in the pipeline. So more connectivity for people in Ahmedabad as well as in the surrounding areas. The station redevelopment, I've shown you the picture of Ahmedabad, but we have 2 more stations, that is Sabarmati and Bhuj, which has already been taken up under station redevelopment. A total capex that has been involved in these 2 stations of 500 crores. And the 160 kmph Vadodara to Ahmedabad route has been already sanctioned and work is in progress. And then there is another important rail connectivity is from the Mehsana Varetha line right up to Ambaji. So Ambaji is a very famous pilgrimage location. We will be connecting that soon also through our Mehsana station right up to Ambaji and connecting further on to Abu Road. So we will be having another alternate route from Mehsana Palanpur Abu Road. The alternate route will be Mehsana Ambaji Abu Road. So local interventions in safety has been the elimination of LC gates, ROBs, RUB, through various means, ROBs, RUBs, as well as direct closures, as well as the improvement in yard layouts. So these are the few projects which I have mentioned. Mehsana Palanpur is your main line. Every time you are going to Delhi, this is the line we are crossing. It was a single line a few years ago. In a few months, it will be completely double line. And in fact, a few years ago, it was a single line for both passenger and goods. And we have moved on to having 4 lines, 2 dedicated for freight and now 2 for passengers. So from 1 line, we have moved to 4 lines in a period of 3 years. So this is the kind of expansion that is happening. The Samakhyali Gandhidham quadrupling is for the freight sector primarily, but it also gets connected to the Bhuj district, the Bhuj headquarters, and Gandhidham Adipur is again connectivity towards Bhuj as well as the Mundra and Kandla ports. Now we are also, the entire system we are planning quadrupling or doubling. So ultimately the final aim is there are going to be no single lines in the future except for the branch lines. Viramgaon, Mehsana, Asarwa, Himmatnagar is the line which connects us to Udaipur. And we are also planning on doubling this. Again, this is a very high demand area, because for people coming from Rajasthan and to the eastern side, this is one way of reaching Ahmedabad apart from Palanpur. And this again, we are doing electrification on this line currently, and in the future the doubling is also in the works for this. The Ahmedabad yard will have more platforms. We have 9 platforms as of now. We are moving to 12 platforms, and we are developing satellites to Ahmedabad Kalupur station. Then there are upgradations in signaling. From absolute, we are moving to automatic signaling, and that is going to cover the entire Ahmedabad division network, as well as bypasses are being formed. As I said, if we want to run a train to Rajkot, we might not bring it to Ahmedabad. It will go via the Barejadi Sanand route, completely bypassing Ahmedabad. You will have connectivity at stations like Sarkhej or Muraiya, but necessarily not Ahmedabad. So this is just a layout of where we are going beyond Bhuj. Bhuj to Desalpur is already done. Now we are going further towards Nalia, is in the final stages. Then a port connectivity to Jakhau. Jakhau is a minor port where we are going to get connectivity for that. And then further from Nalia to Vayor. Vayor is a cement cluster. Then from Vayor we go up till Koteshwar and then Lakpat. So these are all the mining areas, the salt areas, as well as other commodities, bauxite, lignite. And from Desalpur we are going to Hajipir, again a salt plan area. So finally the entire greater run of Kutch is going to get covered after this. Now this is the smaller run of Kutch, the lesser run of Kutch. So from Patadi, we are going to develop towards Zinzuwada. So this is almost reaching from till wherever we can reach in the lesser run of Kutch. And we are going to develop a passenger rail connectivity of approximately 26 kilometers from Patadi. Now this is the bypass I was talking about. We are moving from Barejadi via Bakrol, Sarkhej to Sanand. This is going to be the rail connectivity. Sarkhej and Bakrol will be the two important stations which will develop primarily as a satellite to Ahmedabad because of this line, bypassing Ahmedabad area completely and moving towards Anand and further towards Rajkot and Bhavnagar as well as Bhuj. There's a few branch lines we are going to develop. So from Chanazma, that is near Bechraji, we are going to go towards Radhanpur, that is near Bhabar. So this is going to be one branch line that is going to get connected, further going inroads into the nearby the lesser run of Kutch. This is the Taranga Hill Abu Road line. Will go through Chorasan and in Ambaji, and then it will connect ultimately to Abu Road. This is again a branch line. We are going to connect Vijapur from Adraj on our line to Vijapur is going to get connected, and the track will come back and will join at Amliasan. So this is how we are going to connect Vijapur with our network. Now further extension, Himmatnagar, one line goes towards Udaipur. This is going to be the second line going towards Khet Brahma of approximate 55 kilometers. A completely new gauge conversion work is going to happen here. It is already sanctioned and the work is under execution. The three major ports that we talked about, Mundra, last year we did almost 24 million tons from that place. The Deen Dayal port we did a 1.87 million tons, and the Tuna port was 1.56 million tons of contribution towards the loading. We are working towards increasing the capacity of these ports as well as increasing the evacuation capacity of our railway lines. So the inside terminals, when we talk about, there is already work that is going on towards augmentation of the entire Mundra port area, as well as the doubling of Gandhidham Tuna port line and the connectivity to Jakhau port. The DP World has already taken over a jetty at Tuna Tekra, so that is going to get connected to our rail network through the doubling of the entire line. And the Mandvi port will also get connected in the future. So just a representation of where the ports are and how we are going to get connected. As you can see, Mundra, Kandla and Mandvi and Jakhau are all planned across the railway network towards the particular port sites. And this is going to be the layout of the doubled line that is going to be in between Tuna, and the takeoff will be from Gandhidham. This is the Mandvi port connectivity. The takeoff will happen from Bhuj. The final location survey has already been completed and the detailed project report has gone to the board. So every time we are executing a project, these are the few challenges we face, and the number one is the manpower. So skilled manpower still remains an issue with us. Type of people that we want, especially the signaling and the telecommunications part is something that is still lacking. And the second most important hindrance that we face is the land acquisition part. And that, as you must all be knowing, that is one thing that is always a big hindrance to the early completion of the projects. So these are the two main challenges that we face. Apart from that, there are certain local site-specific conditions that come up in between, as well as our structure in itself is so complex. So getting all the people on board and to make them finalize one particular thing at a time has to be handled with a lot of care, and a lot of complexities are involved. And especially when we are talking about takeoffs, so every line gets connected to an existing line, so there is some amount of brownfield working that is always there. And running the trains, as well as ensuring that the infrastructure keeps on happening, the work is not hindered, is a complex task. So we have to ensure that the public does not suffer, and the work happens, so ultimately we get better than what we are today. And that makes it all the more complex. How we are helping? Number one, as you can already see, the kind of population growth that is happening, and the resultant migration, rural to urban migration that is happening. We have to develop centers so that we can ensure that there are satellites which are formed around the main city, so that we can have a more dispersive kind of a population setup. And the only way to do it is through better logistics. So it can be a within the city logistics, it can be an intercity logistics or an interstate logistics. But until and unless this logistics, passenger or freight, is not developed, the kind of concentration we are going to have in the cities is something that is going to go beyond control. And this is why our planning is moving towards first developing our logistics, so that the cities come up around our planning. So every time, as it was done earlier, railway station used to be the hub of the city. We are moving towards, let's make the railway station the hub of the city, and the city should develop around those station areas. These are also areas of employment. A lot of people get themselves associated with the railways, whether it is from the maintenance side, or from the marketing side, or from the advertising side, from the running of trains, or from the movement of materials. A lot of people come into contact with us at various stages, and we also thus create a lot of employment opportunities for the skilled as well as the unskilled labor. And logistics cost is something, as you've already seen, DFC has reduced it to a great extent. And with more and more freight corridors coming into the picture, we are going to move the products faster. We are going to move them at a cheaper rate, less diesel consumption, less manpower hours need to be going into it, finally benefiting the economy overall. The fifth is the passenger connectivity. So the final aim, as I said, is not just mission zero, but also to connect all the towns with more than 50,000 population. So we should not be lacking as to, you want to go to a particular place and there is no train running. We have to have a system whereby wherever you want to go, the Indian Railways should be there. And this is what we are working towards. And finally, the environmental benefits needs no saying. We are environmentally friendlier compared to other modes of transport. We have to work towards making it more passenger friendly, of having more intermodal connectivities, so that people are automatically drawn into the Indian Railway network. The end connectivity is something we are working on. Our integration with metros, or our integration with suburban trains, is where we are working on, by bringing in more Amrit Bharat stations where there are multimodal connectivities. You don't have to move a kilometer or so to catch a bus to your house. Your bus should be standing right there where your train is terminating. So this is kind of a vision that we are working on, so that you can take an end-to-end movement solution rather than taking over your car and going to your office. How you can connect with the railways? There are a number of ways. Most of us are already connected with the railways as a passenger. Everybody has had a railway ride. Apart from that, we are also a service provider. We are also a GCT developer, a logistics partner for your parcels, for your smalls, for your the freight goods, as well as we also bring in parties for working as advertisers, for working as freight forwarders, aggregators, and I mean, coming with us for providing services to other people. So we are doing a lot of outsourcing. That's how people get connected with us. Uh, Overall, this is how we are connecting a lot of people. And going ahead, as I said, our vision is going to be that whenever you come to the railways, whatever you want from the railways, we are developing a way in which we are able to satisfy all your needs and all your requirements, whether it is for logistics or it is for sending of parcel or for advertising. We are going to be a one-stop solution for all your needs. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zenia, for this wonderful presentation, the entire journey in such a short while. And the lighter vein, I'll say, from the Chuk Chuk Gadi to the Shinkansen, the bullet train, and encompassing the infrastructure, the network, the connectivity, the safety. And you covered all this very lucidly. And with this very wonderful presentation, you'll all agree with me, with such wonderful statistics, and we can see the vision of railways. Earlier it was, you can say maybe 2 3 decades ago in the railway budget, it would be like a, what you say, rationing. Ye division ko itna mila, bas bahut ho gaya. Whereas the whole vision, as she rightly said, the whole thought process is a holistic way of thinking about it, where you're talking of various aspects. It's not only about kilometers covered or about number of trains, but it's much more, covering passenger experience and the connectivity, multimodal stations. That is what we really need, and such a country with such a population will be the highest in the world, and that's what we need. So thank you, Zenia, and we have time for questions. So she'll take questions from here, please, one by one, and let the questions be very brief, please.
आपने बोला there is a gap of skill labor. तो कौन सा, where is the gap? कौन सा talent आपको मिल नहीं रहा है?
I think I will answer that.
Ajay, Sagar.
See, the issue is that the pace at which we are developing, manpower that you need. So, engineers, let us talk about, say, planning engineers, railway engineers. There is, since we are the sole employers in the railway sector, the industry has has been catching up, has been growing with us. But the pace that we have increased, the pace at which we want to implement infrastructure projects. So L&Ts, Tatas, they also have limited capacity. And that is what you see happening in a lot of these things. So the kind of investment that is coming in highways, the kind of investment that is coming in railways, the amount of cement you need, the amount of steel you need. So it is working both ways. On one side, it is creating demand, which is fueling the growth further. On the other side, it is also exposing those shortages. And that shortages at in skill levels are real. Not only within the railways, but with our partners in terms of the contractors we get. So for example, let us say you want to, the pace at which we are implementing EIs, or digital stations we call them, the electronic interlocking. There is only so much of manpower which knows what it is. There are only a limited number of contractors who have experience of doing it. So that shortages is real. But again, the market also responds to the demand. So it is something which we are facing now, but I'm sure the way we are growing, the way entrepreneurs are investing, the way we are moving forward, this gap will reduce. And the skilled manpower that we create is not only going to contribute here, they are also going to contribute to the world, because world also needs those skill sets. I think that answers to some extent your question.
Thank you.
जो मेट्रो की जो लाइन है वो आपके अंडर में नहीं आती?
So Metro is a completely different PSU, and they have a completely different setup.
यानी कुछ relation
So people from our background go to the metros for deputation, and they also have their own in-house way of selecting people from outside. So it's a mix of the kind of people you have there. It's a mix of government as well as non-government. Yeah. So
Planning में integration है. See, we are talking of a railway system. So as a system, it might be different. Its administrative structure might be different, which is different because. So implementing structure, the funding comes. So it is broadly 50-50 model, which is most prevalent. There is a private sector led. So L&T Metro is in Hyderabad. There is a private sector concession based model. But most of the metros that you see is a state center joint venture model. 20% center gives, 20% state brings, 60% is the debt. So that is how the funding takes place. Execution also, since state and center have to collaborate, it is a SPV structure. In most cases, you will find a SPV structure. But when the planning is happening, we are involved at multiple levels because it is a railway system. So the regulatory framework, the design basis reports, the safety approvals, so railways does get involved. So that is one level of involvement. Second level of involvement is no urban transport system can exist in isolation. So nowadays, the holistic planning happens through something called CMPs, which is Comprehensive Mobility Plan, which is for a city, which means not only metro, but also the buses, the feeder systems. All this needs to be factored in. So all this needs to be factored in while planning. So every city, the mandate is that that city which is going to get the metro has to prepare a comprehensive mobility plan. And in the comprehensive mobility plan, even the municipal level plans are frozen so that it does not become an island in isolation. So how it connects to the railway station, how it connects to the airport, how it connects to the dense population cities. So that integration happens through the comprehensive mobility plans.
Who is responsible for CMP?
It is the state. City, because it's a city specific thing. So you're right. So they have to, the plan has to come together. प्लानिंग में इंटीग्रेशन होता है स्टेशंस में. अब इसमें एक और चीज़ भी हो रही है, वो ये कि मल्टी मॉडल इंटीग्रेशन के लिए अवेयरनेस भी बढ़ी है. पहले क्या था, बस अड्डा एक जगह बना हुआ है, मेट्रो स्टेशन दूसरी जगह पे बना हुआ है, दोनों में आपस में कनेक्टिविटी नहीं है, या रेलवे स्टेशन है तो रेलवे स्टेशन के पास बस नहीं जा पा रही है. Now those things are also being factored in because the awareness has spread, and the metro rail policy latest that you have, it mandates that this kind of integration has to happen. The modes have to come together. Yeah.
रेलवे ऐसे कौन सा प्रोडक्ट है जो गुजरात के रेलवे ऐसा कौन सा प्रोडक्ट है जो गुजरात के वेंडरों के साथ लेना चाहेगी, और ऐसे कौन सी प्रोडक्ट है जो भी आप विदेश से मंगवा रहे हो और आप चाहते हैं कि भी गुजरात या इंडिया के मैन्युफैक्चर दे. मैं राजपूत व्यापार विकास मंडल से बोल रहा हूँ.
हमारा प्रोक्योरमेंट सिस्टम बहुत सिंपल है. देयर इज ओनली वन वेबसाइट कॉल्ड IREPS, Indian Railway E-Procurement System. You can log into that. Anything we buy and everything we buy is through that system, whether it is works, goods or services. So whatever we want to buy, you will find it there. You search whatever you are manufacturing. If you are in that field, you go ahead with that. There is a Make in India policy. So government is promoting a lot of indigenous manufacturing in multiple ways. So if preference is given, if the same product is also manufactured by domestic manufacturer. Domestic is not a domestic ownership, but domestic value addition. So if somebody is, say Siemens is making in India with more than 50% indigenous content, it is make in India. So that is how it is.
Yeah, so even just to add on to that, GEM में भी आप लोग register करके, that is another way of connecting with the railways.
Yeah, behind, please.
Yeah, that is Indian Railways, Mumbai Suburban. No.
I am a YouTuber, and my travel experience with Indian Railways was very fantastic till now. because 1985 4 बजे उठो, गांधीग्राम रेलवे स्टेशन जाओ, 8 बजे टिकट लो. वो सबसे अच्छा मोमेंट था मेरे डैड के साथ. एंड नाउ द थिंग इज कि वो डेवलप हो गया, बट माई मेमोरीज विथ रेलवेज इज़ वेरी गुड. 86 में एक ट्रेन थी अहमदाबाद बैंगलोर, संडे सुबह 8-7 बजे निकलती थी और बैंगलोर नेक्स्ट डे इवनिंग 6 बजे पहुंचती थी. पर वो मेमोरीज इंडियन रेलवे के साथ अभी भी नहीं छूटा है मेरा अभी भी.
What's your question?
My question is, you told about 160 kilometers. Can it happen on Ahmedabad Bangalore route?
So the complete route, whether it can happen is
Yes.
something that is beyond us, but definitely is going to happen in that Ahmedabad Surat portion, because in between there is a hilly terrain.
Yes.
So 160 is a little bit doubtful, but
Because
the
there
plain
are
areas
two
will
routes.
definitely have.
Because there are two routes. One is no, one is via Pune and there is via yes.
The second one is via Jalgaon.
One-
so that,
yes, one
that,
is Jalgaon.
that can be feasible, but the
Yes.
via Pune route has a hilly terrain, so it's less likely. That will be 160.
That's why. So the best thing is Indian Railways are the best till now.
Sir, sir, I have a question for you. It is like Beijing has the largest network of metro in the world. There are 27 lines and average frequency is 60 seconds. So as far as the planning is concerned, because you are also involved in the planning, is it possible in India to have such infrastructure or such facilities?
Answer to that is yes, it is happening. It may not be happening in Ahmedabad, but Delhi Metro, if you see the largest in terms of track kilometers, so there are two things which are happening. Earlier, the city used to be 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers diameter, because we have been circular. So Delhi is circular. Now, over a period of time, and the very important point Dr. Zenia stated, Delhi is going to overtake even Tokyo in next 10 years. By 2050, top 10 most populated cities on planet Earth will be in India. So we do not have a choice. So what is happening in Delhi or the progressive cities? They are gearing up today. The planning in terms of Delhi Metro phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. So 4 phases have already come. What is also happening is regional transport is something which is also happening slowly, which means you have a city center and you have hub and spoke. So Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar, 2 different cities but one continuum, one urban agglomeration. Lucknow, Kanpur, Delhi, Noida, Gurgaon. Now we have to move in a direction where regional, so 1 hour is what we take as a benchmark. So can 1 hour mean 100 kilometers? And that is where a lot of focus is now turning to. It has started happening in Delhi area where regional trains are being now created. Delhi Meerut, as you must have heard, which is called Namo Bharat train. It is Meerut South is already connected up to Sahibabad. I think Ghaziabad, Sahibabad, they are working, and the underground portion in Delhi, Yamuna crossing, that is not underground, that is also elevated now. So Hazrat Nizamuddin connectivity plus little bit of underground portion near Anand Vihar. So that is the bottleneck there, and Begumpur also another underground. So you will have 82 kilometers being covered in less than an hour. So that is happening. Panipat is another line which is already in the pipeline. Gurgaon is third line which is in the pipeline. So UP has kind of adopted from this, and they are developing a regional plan. So right now the planning is either at a state level or at district level. So this planning paradigm is changing, and regional planning is also happening. So UP has gone Delhi, Kanpur, I said. So they are planning one as one region, and they are planning that way. In Ahmedabad, you are seeing Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar being planned together. So the metro does not differentiate that these are two different cities or two different towns. So that is happening. Ji.
जीरो वेटिंग कब से चालू हुआ? जीरो वेटिंग
What I can tell you is, सिस्टम, जब भी हम कोई सिस्टम बनाते हैं तो सिस्टम क्या हम पीक के लिए डिज़ाइन कर रहे हैं या हम एवरेज के लिए डिज़ाइन कर रहे हैं, क्या हम दिवाली और छठ की बात कर रहे हैं या हम एवरेज डे की बात कर रहे हैं. सो आंसर विल डिपेंड ऑन लॉट ऑफ दीज थिंग्स. The point is, the capacity being created is at an unprecedented rate. The demand that is put on the system. So we are running more than 2 times the trains we ran. You have the number. How many special trains did we run this year? And 350 special trains is a huge number. This is more than ever run. Still, the demand is remaining unfulfilled. And it is happening because of 2-3 reasons. One, because of the economic development, more number of people are migrating. Mobility demand is itself increasing. And the infrastructure, the pace, low investment over the past many years have constrained the capacity. Now the investment we are making today, 2 things is reduce the capacity of our capacity to carry passengers. One is the number of lines you have, number of trains you can run on those lines, and number of terminals on which you can handle those passengers. So as far as Ahmedabad is concerned, what we are doing, we are developing Ahmedabad, we are developing Asarwa as a separate terminal, we are developing Sabarmati as a separate terminal, we are also developing, increasing capacity in Bhuj, we are increasing capacity in Gandhidham. So those are some actions we are taking which will allow us to run more trains. And we hope the number will increase substantially. सजेशन दीजिए, हम उनको सबको कंसीडर करेंगे.
Sir.
जी
Sir,
जी जी.
my question is related to safety aspects. So recently we learned that Kavach 4 has been approved. Now Madam talked about 2000 kilometers coverage. So total length I suppose is roughly 1 lakh kilometer. So with a very limited number of vendors in that category, how railway plans to cover the entire stretch, or what is the phase-wise coverage that is expected in terms of coverage?
Now this question I cannot answer fully because it is a higher level bird eye view that railway board will have, we do not have. But it is not one vendor. So it is an indigenous technology, multiple vendors are involved. But since it is an indigenous technology and it is a safety technology, the process through which SIL 4, there are different levels of safety. SIL 4 standard is the standard we want to follow. So this process itself takes a lot of time. So trials are done and version 4 is approved recently, about 10 days ago. Now version 4 rollout, and again rollout will gain pace. So when you start, and this happens not only in railway sector, you see a lot of you are from business community, there is something called a S-curve. You will find that initial growth is slow, then you take off, and then it increases exponentially. Same is going to happen here also. And same is happening in a lot of other things. For example, India's economy. We have just crossed that tipping point. Now, unless we do something very, very wrong and we fail in a lot of things, we are going to grow. This growth rate of 7%, 6% is going to increase to 10, 15, 20. And if we can sustain it in next 20 years, विकसित भारत बनना मुझे लगता है कि वो possible है. अच्छा possibility है.
Regarding Ahmedabad as a city, see, Ahmedabad is one of India's biggest cities in the top 10, and see, other big cities like Mumbai and Bangalore have more than 2 railway terminal. Like Mumbai has Bandra and Kurla LTT. Bangalore has a new terminal as well, SMVT. Why not Ahmedabad? I agree Sabarmati is there, but Kalupur does need to be decongested. Like if there can be a line, ma'am spoke about the bypass from Bareilly to Sanand. So we can have a line from Maninagar connecting. Moving across river and then reaching Gandhigram. So Gandhigram. See, people living here, this part of this river, people living in Vastrapur and Navrangpura, will do not have to go all the way to Kalupur.
इसके दो सॉल्यूशंस हो सकते हैं. एक सिंपलिस्टिक सॉल्यूशन ये है जो कि हमें लगता है, बट रेलवे इज नॉट रोड. हियर यू कैन नॉट जस्ट मूव. इफ देयर इज अ इन्फ्रिंजमेंट, यू कैन नॉट जस्ट मूव एंड स्कर्ट इट, एंड you need continuous. There is curves have to be gentle, the slopes have to be gentle, and land in the middle of the city is something that cannot be created. So that puts restriction on what you can create. But better solution, which I think is a better solution, is not to think of one system in isolation, but to consider how we can disperse and collect people. So feeder and the through, so let us say it is a pipeline. So there is a main pipeline and there are branches. So can we have, and which is happening, Maninagar is a very good transport hub. So you have BRTS there, you have autos and metro. So a lot of those connectivity options are happening. As the metro expands and it touches more areas, metro becomes a feeder. The city bus becomes a feeder. So that integration is something which can solve this problem rather than railway line. Railway line perhaps will going to be very difficult.
I've always thought of suburban trains because Mumbai has, and even Hyderabad is as big as Ahmedabad, maybe slightly bigger.
So suburban, you call it suburban, you call it metro, you call it bus. So local train or bus. So train again is a constraint in Mumbai. Since this has been planned, now within the city, laying a railway line in the middle of the city is simply not possible. And broad gauge line, that kind of line we have. Again, as I said, the city and the state have to come forward and create feeder networks. Everywhere railway cannot gather and collect. Mumbai, another advantage with Mumbai and Bangalore in both these examples are that these are linear cities. They are north-south cities. The population is 1 kilometer this side, 1 kilometer this side, and there is nothing beyond. Which means the central line and western line run north-south, and east-west connectivity is happening either through buses or autos or walking. In case of Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar, and so is the case in Delhi, the city is circular. In circular case, how many spokes you can create? There is a limitation on the system by which railway can run. Railway cannot, again you will have to create a stop. So if there is a line, somebody will have to get down and board. So better option or a more feasible option is, and I would recommend, strongly recommend that you go through the comprehensive mobility plan of city. It will have some solutions planned. जी मैम आप कुछ कह रहे हैं?
Sir, my question is related to skill engineers and other laborers. So is there any idea for railway to directly connect with IITs and all engineering colleges, especially for railway engineering?
So railway engineering, as far as we are concerned, we are hiring. We also have Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya set up in Baroda. We also have tie-ups at different levels of skilling the forces. We have the skilling the subjects we have internally. As far as industry is concerned, there is one part is the electronic engineering. For example, signal and telecom is mostly about electronics and telecom engineering. That said, a lot of it is happening in the private sector. So Siemens has one particular technology by which they make the electronic interlocking equipment. Keosan has another technology. So there are different vendor specific technologies. Now those technologies, the training or the development happens through them. So we outsource. So for example, if there is a Siemens system, generally we will ask Siemens to maintain it. Siemens will employ somebody, outsource it. So that is how it works. So we connecting directly, we are connected.
But as an aeronautical engineering, just as railway engineering is the
Railway engineering is an essential part. Those of you who are civil engineers, it is an elective subject. I am also a civil engineer from Roorkee. So, railway engineering is an essential part of your curriculum. But to dive deeper, you have to work in the sector. So you have to work with the L&Ts, you have to work with the Tatas, you have to work with the contractors who are working in that field. That is how you develop the skill. So teaching the engineering level skill is not an issue. Creating that experienced manpower pool, that is where the challenge is lying. Because that experience does not come in a year. It comes over the years. हमारे बहुत सारे ट्रेनिंग सेंटर्स हैं. सो रेलवेज का एक गतिशक्ति विश्वविद्यालय, मैंने कहा कि वो काफ़ी सारे कोर्सेज रन कर रहा है. वो हमारे बहुत सारे हैं. सो वी हैव अ सिग्नल एंड टेलीकॉम फॉर आवर स्टाफ एंड आवर ऑफिसर्स. फॉर एवरी स्किल सेट देयर इज अ ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूट. जी.
Thank you. That was a wonderful session. It's time. It's quarter to 8. So we can take a last question, please, from somebody who was not asked. Please, somebody behind you. Yeah. Please. Yeah. Okay. Short, please.
Is quite among us. So it is on one side it is related to creation of infra. On the other side, you will need a lot of rolling stock just to match with all the traffic and passenger movement that you have planned. Right now, what we see is some constraints on rolling stock manufacturing. Mainly, what I was reading was about shortage of wheels.
ये सब टेम्पररी है. व्हील्स में फोर्स्ड व्हील्स हम लोग यहाँ पे बनाते नहीं हैं, अभी तक बना नहीं रहे थे. उसकी फैक्ट्रीज भी लग रही हैं. फोर्स्ड व्हील्स हम लोग इंपोर्ट करते थे, और जिसको कि रशिया यूक्रेन वॉर ने काफ़ी इम्पैक्ट किया. लेकिन अभी हम लोग उसमें ये टेम्परेरी शॉर्टेजेस हैं, जिसके लिए यहाँ पे प्लांट्स भी लग रहे हैं. अभी तो हमारी इंडियन कंपनीज भी काफ़ी सारा मैन्युफैक्चर करना शुरू कर रही हैं.
Thank you.
ठीक है. Shall we?
Hello. Yeah. So we saw Vande Bharat, and also we also got an chance to supply to Vande Bharat. But what we are talking is Class A supply, Class B supply, like 50% make in India, made in India, and all. What we are facing constraint in supplying to railways are the RDSO approvals. Because you might be knowing that whenever the file goes to RDSO, it takes its own time to get the approvals and all. So how we can shorten this period? Because we do have many products which we can supply, like speed sensors are there, but it needs this RDSO approvals.
It needs and it will need. Regulator is required. We are talking about running trains which carry people. It should need, it will need. Only thing is, if you have any suggestions, you can send it to RDSO directly or to the ministry. I am sure they will consider it. But doing away with the approval is not a good idea.
Safety is paramount.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Zenia Gupta, and equally Mr. Sudhir Kumar Sharma for this wonderful session we had today. Both the presentation and we had the wonderful insights into our railway planning, what is coming ahead for us, all sides. So I'll not repeat all those things again. And again, I will not forget the wonderful interaction of our audience with wonderful questions. So I thank you both for making this evening a great success and a great eye-opener for our citizens. And before we end, I'd also like to present a memento to Mr. Sudhir Kumar Sharma, the Divisional Manager. Please,